What if the world told you that your future was limited, that you came from too little, knew too little, and would never be more than what you were born into? Would you accept it? Or would you write your own story, line by line, until even history itself had to remember your name? This is the story of Benjamin Franklin, a boy who began as an apprentice in a print shop and ended as one of the architects of an entire nation. Benjamin Franklin was born in 1706, the 15th child in a poor family in Boston. Education: only 2 years of formal school. Money: almost none. His father was a candle maker. His future seemed destined to be small. At 12, Benjamin became an apprentice in his brother's print shop. He swept floors, set type, carried ink, but inside, he was hungry not just for work, but for knowledge. He borrowed books, taught himself to write, practiced until his essays could rival the best of Boston's. It would have been easy to believe he was trapped by circumstance. But Franklin understood something. Limitations can cage your body, but they cannot cage your curiosity. Franklin wasn't content to stay in the shadows. He began writing letters under a fake name, Mrs. Silence, Dogged, and slipped them under the door of his brother's newspaper. Readers loved them. They were witty, bold, satirical. No one guessed the author was a teenager. But when his brother discovered the truth, anger flared. Conflict drove Franklin to leave Boston. With little more than a few coins, he walked, rode, and finally arrived in Philadelphia, tired, dirty, almost broke. Yet that moment, carrying bread down the street, was the start of something historic. In Philadelphia, Franklin built his own printing business. But printing wasn't just about making money, was about spreading ideas. He published newspapers, essays, and the famous Poor Richard's Almanac, filled with wisdom and wit. From there, his curiosity exploded. He invented the lightning rod, bifocal glasses, and the Franklin stove. He established libraries, fire brigades, and educational institutions. He became a scientist, a diplomat, a philosopher. His life whispered a truth: knowledge, when shared, multiplies. By the time the American colonies rose against Britain, Franklin was no longer just a printer or inventor. He was a respected thinker and diplomat. He helped draft the Declaration of Independence. A boy with barely 2 years of school had helped build a new nation. Experts in psychology talk about growth mindset, the belief that ability is not fixed but cultivated through effort. Franklin embodied this centuries before the term existed. Studies show that those who approach life with curiosity and persistence often outperform those who rely only on talent. Franklin's life was proof. Genius is not always born, it is built, page by page. Habit. Another perspective. Franklin's story reflects what sociologists call social capital. He didn't just learn, he created communities, libraries, clubs, societies. By lifting others, he lifted himself. If Franklin's life were told as a parable, it might go like this. A boy begins by printing the words of others. Day after day, he sets letters into place. But over time, he realizes he doesn't have to print only what others write. He can print his own words. And when he does, those words ripple outward till they become the very blueprint of a nation. Most of us are not founding fathers, but all of us start somewhere small. Maybe your print shop is a job you don't love. Maybe your 2 years of school is a feeling that you're underprepared. The question Franklin's story asks us is this: will you let your circumstances define your ceiling? Or will you let your curiosity build your wings? Because greatness rarely arrives fully formed. It begins with small acts, reading one more page, writing one more line, taking one more step. Benjamin Franklin showed us that you don't need perfect beginnings to create extraordinary endings. The measure of your life is not where you start, but how far your curiosity and courage are willing to take you. So, here's my question for you. What's the print shop in your life right now? That humble, ordinary place where you're tempted to believe you're stuck. And what if, instead of settling, you used it as the training ground for greatness? Because maybe, just maybe, the very limits in front of you are the reason history will one day remember your name. If Franklin's story stirred something in you, hit like so it reaches more dreamers. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that humble beginnings don't decide the ending. And subscribe for more modern parable stories that remind us that every great life is, at its heart, a story of transformation. Because sometimes one story is enough to spark a revolution inside you.